So similar to previously, we will use a for loop to loop through each of the scores in the list of student scores. And if you want to verify it as you go along while you're writing your code, it's always a good idea just to make sure that your code is doing what you expect it to do. So in this case, we're going through each of the scores. Now, instead of printing it, we want to check it against the number which we want to set as maximum. So similar to sum, we need a variable to hold all of the intermediate values until we reach the maximum. So let's create a variable called max score, and let's just set it to equal 0. Now, when we loop through each of the scores, we're going to compare the current score that the loop is going through. So the first time it will be looking at 150. And we're going to say, well, if the score that we're currently looking at, let's say 150, is greater than the max score, well, in that case, we're going to set the max score to this current score that we're looking at. And what this loop is going to do is it's going through each of these numbers. So let's go through the first 3 in order, just so that we can make this process a bit more clear in your mind. The first score is equal to 150. Is 150 greater than 0? Well, yes. So then this bit of code carries out, and now the max score is equal to 150. So for the next score, it's 142. So is 142 greater than 150? No, so we're not going to do anything at all. You could, of course, have an else statement that just prints something, but in this case it's unnecessary. We only need to check for one thing. And that one thing is each time we loop through each of the scores, is it greater than the previous maximum? And now if I go ahead and exit the indentation levels and go to the very start, so I'm outside of the for loop, and I print out the max score, you'll see that it will give me the same result as using the max function, which is 199. So if this code doesn't make any sense to you, I recommend going back to the previous lesson and revising what we learned about for loops. Alternatively, maybe you need to do some revision on how if statements and conditionals work. But either way, make sure that all of this code makes perfect sense to you and you can write it from scratch without having to look at the answer code. Because it's really, really important as we progress that I'm going to assume that all of this makes sense to you so that we can build upon our knowledge. And then once you're ready, I'll see you over in the next lesson. Now, up to this point, we've only been using for loops in association with lists. So we've been looping through the list and getting hold of each of the items in the list and then doing something with it, right? But we're not always